Are you concerned about what the future may hold for realtors? Stop being concerned, because today we're going to talk about how to future-proof your business. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, on to our show. Hello and welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. I'm DJ Paris. I'm your guide and host through the show. And welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. And as always, please tell a friend about our show. Other realtors need to know. We have a huge audience. Tens of thousands of you listen to every episode. There's like 1.6 million realtors. And I'm going to put it on you guys. You got to get me in front of all of them. I'm just teasing. But that would be awesome. Just tell one person about us. That would really help us, and it would make our audience even bigger. So thank you in advance for that. Also, check out our sponsors, guys. Our sponsors are awesome. They're so sweet and nice. They keep the show rolling. Check out their products and services. They have awesome stuff. So please do that too. But let's get to my main event. Today we're talking to Fee Gentry, and this is a real true superstar in the industry, not just a top producer. This is somebody at the highest levels of the industry, and she is now consulting with agents and teams to help them take their business to the next level. So you really want to check this out. It's very cool. But let's just get right to it. My conversation with Fee Gentry. Gentry on the show as our guest from EXP in Georgetown, Texas. Let me tell you more about Fee. Now, Fee Gentry is a dynamic figure in real estate. She excels as an entrepreneur, an investor, a speaker, a coach, and an author. She's the visionary founder of the Black EXP Network, a co-founder of the One EXP Initiative, and a former director on the board of EXP World Holdings, LLC. Now, since 2004, when she became a licensed Texas realtor, her mission has been helping women and underserved individuals achieve financial independence through home ownership. With over 2 decades of entrepreneurial experience, Fee is the driving change both within and beyond the real estate sector. She's currently the CEO of Live Better Ventures, running a business incubator, and hosts the fellowship on YouTube. Now, for all things Fee, we want you actually to go to her Instagram, which is at Fee Gentry. Fee, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, DJ. Man, I was like, when you were reading that, I was like, who's he talking about?
Who's that amazing person?
Who's that lady? Right? Like she sounds like,
she's a little superstar.
Yeah.
Well, you are a superstar, and I am excited to, number one, you're such a sweet person. We were just chatting backstage, and I'm really, really excited to speak with you. But besides being just a pleasant and lovely person, I really want to, you have some really great things we're going to talk about today, specifically money that realtors are leaving on the table, and also with the talk of AI and just technology always, increasing and trying to edge out realtors, what we can do to future-proof our businesses. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But before we get to that, let's talk about you. And I'd love to hear about how you got into real estate, because you have done a lot. So tell us about that journey.
Man, real estate, DJ, was like plan F for me. Like it was nowhere on my radar. Right? I mean, actually, I was in physical therapy school, so I had, my goal was to be a physical
Wow.
therapist, and so I went to PT school. I did post rehabilitation. I mean, that was in fitness. That was my career, and then
And we should mention for anyone, I'm sorry to interrupt you, your
sure,
lovely story, but just to make a big deal about this, PT school is often talked about as being just as challenging to get into as pre-med, because
yeah,
there's fewer actually PT schools than there are med
that's correct.
schools. And I don't know if that's still the case, but it is a big
Yes.
deal to get into a PT program. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. So tell us
No,
more.
yeah. So I was in the number one physical therapy program in the state of Texas, and I just
Wow.
boom, I just said, this is not for me. Like because
Yeah.
it was just weird. And and I've always been an entrepreneur since the age of like 9, 10, 11 years old. I've always had businesses. So I, read this little book like a lot of people have, right? That book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Kiyosaki.
Sure.
And that one little sentence says that 90% of people of millionaires or people who have wealth are in the real estate business. I didn't see the sales part. I just saw in the real estate business. So silly me, my mom was building a house in Central Texas, sight unseen. And so her realtor was like, and who also happened to be the commissioner of the state of Texas, was like,
Wow.
when I came to meet, check on the house and meet with him, and he said, you would be really good in real estate. He goes, I want to introduce you to one of my friends who happened to be and she was there. I didn't know who it was. Avis Wukash happened to be the commissioner of the state of Texas. And they're like, you could be top 1%. And I was like, I just didn't even listen to them, and I blew it off. And I thought about it for a while, and I start having all these people recruit me into the real estate industry. And I promise you, DJ, I did not know a listing from a lockbox when I got in the business. I had no clue. And so first year I sold 39 homes, unbeknownst to me. I thought it sucked. I was like, because I got this little bronze medal. I was at the big red company, KW, and I got this bronze medal. I was like, oh, how do I get a silver? I mean, how do I get a gold?
Bronze, that's the worst of all the medals.
Right. Like it means I barely made it on the podium. And if you don't know this about me, but I'm 5'11", almost 6 foot tall. So I'm a, former collegiate athlete, love sports. So I'm like very competitive. So that's
Sure.
how I got in the business of real estate. And so I just grew from there. So I went from being a solo agent that I grew, then I became like I was in a smaller town. I was living up north. And so I was kind of like this medium-sized fish in a small pond, and start growing a team of people, and then I wanted to own a franchise, and that didn't work out, thank God, because 2008 then happened.
Oh,
Oh,
good timing.
saved myself. But I still took a bloodbath like everybody else.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's how I ended in the business. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a story, and your story doesn't end there, because from there you went on to serve in management capacities at the corporate level, with EXP in particular, and just continually coaching, consulting, writing. You do it all, and it's so impressive, and there's so much we could talk about. And I think being that you were so connected to agents, I would love to talk about, 2024. Now, this episode might not actually publish until early January or potentially late December, but regardless, it'll be, 2024 is on everybody's mind, no matter when this actually drops. But people had a tough 2023, or at least most of the agents I knew. Every so often I talk to an agent that said, I'm having my best year ever. That was maybe 1% of the agents I talked to.
Right,
So,
right, right.
for most of us, it was a tricky, a difficult year. And I think, for somebody like yourself, who's so disciplined, so focused, so just committed to finding solutions, I really do want to talk about what agents can do in 2024 just to help stay in business and keep their business rolling forward. So just any advice or guidance that you might have for what agents should be focusing on right now during the winter months, when we know things are slower anyway, but how they could set themselves up for possibly having a better 2024 or 2025.
Right. That is an amazing question. And I get that question a lot, and I talk about that a lot. We wish we'd have started in October. So the people that I work with, we say, let's start in October, that 90-day window, right? But since we can't do anything about it, let's start today. Like, so what can you do today? And I always talk about, what do you need to do right now to future-proof your business, right, for 2024? So that, and so my goal here for your audience is just to help set them free, right? Free from, worry about artificial intelligence taking over, free from the tax from these major, institutional investors, and I want to set them free from any other outside forces. Because the first part that we ought to talk about is let's get their mind in check, right? So I don't want them to be a victim of the economy. I want them to, first of all, let's talk about your mindset. You have to make a decision. So that's the very first thing I talk to people about. Make a decision that you should thrive in 2024. Number two is to have a plan. And not and people keep writing business plans, but I'm talking about an action plan, because we all feel good about planning. Oh, well, I wrote my business plan for 2024. Well, what are you going to do? What are the action steps that you're going to take in the first 30 days? And I always talk about this, is keep it simple. We write these elaborate business plans, and I'm just talking to people about in 2024, we're going to just have to keep it simple, and go back to the basics and the fundamentals of everything. Yes, we need to leverage artificial intelligence and learn how to use that, but we need to leverage it in what I'm calling collective capitalism or collaborative capitalism this year. That's what people should be focusing on in 2024. It's not what you need to do or how to do it. Who do you need to connect with in order to get through the next year to 2 years, and possibly even 3 years? Because I believe this is the, according to Fee, disclaimer, right? These are just my own thoughts and beliefs. I believe that real estate is going to substantially change in the next 24 to 48 months, whether it's from the Department of Justice, the court cases, or whether it's, technology, or the consumers who've just decided, they've got a different feed and they want to do something, or the collapse of NAR. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But either way, like I said, my goal is to set your audience free to do something different this year. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think, by the way, a wonderful goal, and very appreciative to you to come on here and share some of your wisdom and knowledge. And we should, I was thinking as you were saying about keeping it simple. So I recruit agents for a living, and our audience, a lot of them don't do that, but I think our audience can possibly relate to this little quick story. So for years and years, every week we'd have a management meeting, and they would say, DJ, how many people did you hire this week? And that was our measure of how well I was doing. And I've been doing this 13 years. So it was just a standard metric. It's like, how many sales did you get? That kind of thing. But it was how many people did I recruit? And then we finally realized that what we call our key performance indicators, that's just the end result of me doing all the other tasks. And so, assuming that I never get better at recruiting, what is the actual driver? It's how many conversations do I have on a daily basis? Right. So it reminds me of that Brian Buffini, old Brian Buffini thing that where he would say, you got to meet 2 to 5 people every day if you're a realtor, and just add them to your database. And I was like, well, and there's a lot more to it, of course. But if we're looking at the most basic activity that a realtor should probably consider if they don't have enough business right now, is keep adding people to your database, keep having conversations, meet new people, get them into your CRM. And so for me, I don't focus on how many people I recruited anymore. It's how many conversations did I have this week with agents. And then, we track my close ratio and all of that. But really what we're finding out is we know DJ needs to talk to 20 different agents a week if he's going to get, 5 people to join or whatever. So I really appreciate you saying that, because we can look at the end result, sales, deals closed, and go, and then we can go, that's a lot of stress. If we go back to just, I got to meet a whole bunch of people, and I go, that's not the only thing anyone needs to do, but it's a way to think about scaling back your, what do I actually need to do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. That's the one. If you do nothing else, that's it.
If you never improve your skill set, I mean, this is what I always say too. It's like with me, if I never become any better as a recruiter, if I just double the number of people I talk to, in theory, I should double the number of recruits that I have. So, and of course, we want to get into everything, but yeah. So let's talk a little bit more. So thinking about, yes, there's all of these outside factors. You mentioned technology. We talked about the rise of AI, the flight to teams. There's the lawsuits. There's all these things that, and I want to go back to mindset just for a moment, because I was curious of what your advice is. For you talked about first making a decision that I'm going to have a good next 12 months. Yes.
Yep.
How do you protect that mindset? because we know that it's when things are good, it's easy to have the mindset, and when things are strong, are challenging, it's harder. So do you have any suggestions to protect that mindset and really guard it so that some of these outside influences don't start to color it in a way that we now are, oh my gosh, oh, this isn't going to happen?
Yeah, I am 100% my own best critic, my own best person at that. Number one, I always do is like turn off the television, get off social media, and then get away from negative people. And what do all those three things have? People, right? And it's kind of weird. Like we're supposed to talk to people, so like yeah, so like want you to have conversations, but with the right type of people, right?
Yeah.
But it's so. But and the other thing that I do is I have a lot of my friends or colleagues. We're all learners, so we're staying atop of books. So we're reading books on on mindset, on manifestation or money or prayer, whatever it is that you believe in. Find something that you can do every single day that takes you out of this crazy world and brings you back inward. Because we keep looking at these external forces. Everything we need is already inside of us. And so
Yeah.
that's the number one thing that I really recommend is for people to go inward when everybody else is being crazy.
Yeah, and also we can get crazy too. And so this idea of having a practice, some sort of discipline, like you were saying, prayer, meditation, whatever it is, something that takes you a little bit outside of the craziness that we all deal with inside our own heads too. It gives some additional space in our lives to be able to say, you know what, there's more than just me out here. I'm somehow connecting with this, greater thing
Mhm.
that's not just me, and it's a nice respite from sometimes our own struggles that we have. So I'm a big fan of that, and big believer in that as well. And also I think it's the birthplace of creativity. I think when you can get quiet and
Yeah,
listen to your intuition, like you were saying, that sometimes and a lot of times the answers bubble up, but
right.
if you're not quiet, if I'm
Yeah.
not quiet, I don't hear them.
Me neither. Yeah, yeah. I absolutely just I do that twice a day. I just get quiet
Good
twice a
for
day, or
you.
when something, and I always recommend finding that peace. For me, it's like either putting my feet in the grass, looking
Yeah.
at water, something like that, like connecting with nature, connecting with your inner, your source, whatever you
Yeah.
need to do, music, but just find that internal peace is really, really key. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I think about, I'm curious to get your take on it, is this. It's an old expression, but I think it's accurate, at least for me, that the journey is really where it's at. The destination is nice, and it's nice to celebrate and when we have these major goals we accomplish. It's great for a day or two to sort of celebrate, and then I don't know, but I often, well, for me, I often get depressed when I achieve a goal, and which I didn't know was very common. I can get really depressed because then it's like, oh, now, oh, okay, now what? And then it's like I got to just, and if I were to think about, yes, the goal is nice and we should celebrate our wins, and then we should realize it's all about chopping wood and carrying water, just
Yeah.
consistently
Yeah.
doing
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
doing the work.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, that's it. DJ, I'm glad you mentioned that because I call it's the mama mentality. And there's a lot of us, especially in the real estate industry, or like I said, as it being an athlete or something. So I think about Kobe Bryant. It's that, after the championships, he comes back and he's looking at game film and shooting 1,000 shots after he's won a
Yeah.
championship. I'm that girl, I'm that girl too. And so the journey as I've gotten older and I've started to learn and appreciate patience and enjoying just the little things like the habit of practice. We're just about practice, right? Just
Yeah.
practice and enjoying that journey. But man, whew, it took me 30 years plus. It's taken me a long
Me
time,
me
most
me
of my life.
too. I was talking to my personal trainer the other a week or two ago, and I was saying, I'm just going to have to throw myself in the way of pain, physical pain, for the rest of my life if I want to be fit. There's nothing pleasant to me about like lifting heavy weights. It's painful, it hurts. But the results are pretty cool.
Yeah,
But I have to be willing to go through the discomfort and the willing. I mean, it's how muscles grow. It's how we grow as people. So this idea of like throwing ourselves into discomfort is not fun, but it seems to be the only way I know to do it.
yeah,
So this idea of of getting into habits, and just like, I don't like working out, but I do it. I don't have to like it. I just have to do it.
You do it. Yeah, it's about it's about creating habits. That's why when I was talking about, when you're making plans and goals. No, you need to just develop habits.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. James Clear's book is probably one of the
Yep.
books that I recommend more than anything, is Atomic Habits. Long read, and the way he builds that book, it's creating a habit, right? I mean, the way he even lays out the book. So yeah, it's creating habits, and man, like you said, it sucks, but you just do it.
Yeah, and here's the good news. I was thinking about this with exercise. So I don't like exercise. Some people do. I truly, I know some people actually really do love it. So I'm only speaking for myself, but I never did enjoy lifting heavy weights. And even doing cardio is not my favorite thing. But if I want to live a long life, I probably have to do those things. So I finally just said, well, I got to do it. I don't have to like it. I just have to do it. And so if you have parts of your business that you don't like to do but are critical, then you can start to think about, do I have to force myself to do this? And sometimes the answer may be yes, or it may be I can leverage someone else to maybe do some of this for me, because number one, I don't like doing it, or number two, I'm not good at it. And there's all these ways now to get people to help you. We have a global economy. We have this gig economy that we can tap into and get help from people in other places that, maybe charge less than what people locally would charge to do similar work. And if you're having problems staying on top of your habits, well, maybe get some help or get an accountability partner. But I want to talk a little bit about future-proofing one's business and this idea of leaving money on the table, because I think this is something that most agents don't think about at all. They're just focused on the next transaction, the next client, and there are a lot of opportunities. As somebody who is in management at a brokerage, this is a huge focus for brokerage owners right now, but it also can be something that teams, agents, they really should be thinking about additional streams of income. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite things to talk about, and I've been talking about it for a long period of time. So DJ, most real estate professionals are renting their careers. Let me say that again. Most real estate professionals are renting their careers. They're going from transaction to transaction. They're doing, they might be at a brokerage where they have unfavorable terms. And then the other parts of the money that they're leaving on the table. So I want you to imagine this, and I always kind of do this exercise. Draw a circle. So if somebody's watching this, do this as I'm talking about it. Write a circle, put your name in the middle of it. What do most real estate agents do? Like how many people get paid during a real estate transaction? So let's just start naming them. Who gets paid during a real estate transaction?
The realtor.
The realtors, both, so buyer and seller side, the broker.
Buyer, sellers, the brokerage gets paid. The title company gets paid. The lender gets paid.
Right. Videographer.
Inspector.
Yep. Home inspector.
The utility companies get paid if sometimes.
Movers.
Yeah.
Videographers, stagers, the
sign companies.
The state records, county clerks. So DJ, when I do this, I have found that on one single transaction, up to 41 people get paid off of one transaction. And guess who's in the middle of that transaction?
Yeah, the agent.
The agent. And that's what I talk about, leaving money on the table. We are now, when you talked about that gig economy, we have the ability now as entrepreneurs, we have to stop being self-employed. I'm talking to people about going from solo to CEO or being self-employed to a real estate business owner. And a lot of people think they're real estate business owners, and they're not. They are self-employed. And so the entrepreneur of the future is going to have to stop leaving money on the table. And there are compliant ways for you to get paid, especially from title, from mortgage company, from mortgages, because you're watching the brokers do it. I mean, our brokerages are doing that in the models of, so now in the future, and it's nothing new, but it's a different way to look at it. If you keep saying that my lending partner, if your lending partner is not providing you resources or an ability to get paid or something, that's not your partner. That's just a vendor. And so we have
just a vendor. Yep.
It's just a vendor. And so there are so many different ways to get paid on the table. If you're, we have real estate professionals you can own a vending company. We have real estate, staging companies. We have real estate owners who own who can become, property managers. You have to what,
Yeah.
check your local, but there's so many
Sure.
different ways.
Sure.
I'm looking right now in this country, we have 30,000 baby boomers retiring every day. And Junior wants to be a YouTube star. He doesn't want to own a plumbing company, a HVAC
Right.
company. He doesn't care about being a property manager, but we have the ability to go ahead and buy our cash flow. We as real estate professionals can buy our cash flow. We keep creating these companies and doing these transactions, but we can buy cleaning companies, we can buy move out companies. I mean, there's so many different ways right now for us to make money, and we're leaving 10, 15, $20,000 a month on the table. So that's
Wow.
what I've been doing lately is either buying into equity, so creating equity positions with companies who already service the real estate industry, where they're handyman companies. I've got a landscaping company, a tile and grout company. All those get paid off of a real estate transaction, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's where there's the opportunity. And so, especially those in the real estate businesses, like who are, bigger teams, you're already utilizing these services, the moving services, moving trucks. I mean, moving companies. There's so many opportunities. Like we talked about the 41 ways that people, up to 41 ways people get paid off of one single real estate transaction. That's how you got to
Yeah.
start leaving money off your on the table.
I love that. And this idea of investing in, taking some of your capital, your commission money, for
Mhm.
example, and reinvesting it into another business where you have an equity position. And yes, there are all sorts of ways that agents can align themselves and get paid in, legally compliant ways, RESPA compliant.
Right, right. But DJ, most of the ways I can teach you. I mean, I'm doing it with, like, sometimes you're doing it with no money down, because
Yeah.
we're real estate professionals. So like
Right.
where they may suffer and don't know how to market, or they don't have a CRM, they don't understand. We already know how to do that as real estate agents. That's what our job is. We know how to connect people. We know how to do social media. I mean, think about all the tools that we have in our
Yeah.
toolbox as real estate professionals. It makes total sense for us to, like you said, we can, like I said, do some earned equity within those positions, and do
Yes.
something, yeah, in revenue share. That's what we're
I am.
talking about.
Yes.
It's revenue share. Yeah.
So for every vendor that an agent has, they absolutely should reach out, again, making sure it's,
Compliant,
you're not
RESPA
violating
compliant, right,
license
right,
law.
exactly,
Yeah.
right.
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Yeah,
But
right.
find out, find out what the rules are in your local market and
Mhm.
state, and then reach out to, the attorneys, reach out to, and some people are able to help you in certain ways and some aren't.
Right.
But if you're sending business to somebody, you should be asking them to do the same at the very least, or saying, how could I help you? For example, if you're very good, if you're strong, like you were saying, at social media, if that's your thing as an agent,
Yeah,
you're really good. Well, guess what? Most business owners aren't. So
that's
you have, relationships with inspectors, all these ancillary, sort of services. You then can go to those and say, I can help you with that. Or let me at least just fire some business off to you, and then let's work out an arrangement
yeah.
where, where we can both participate in the profit. So I love that.
Yeah, that's the new way of doing real estate businesses. How do you make money in between the commissions? This is what it's looks like, right? Because unless you as a solo agent, or even as teams, figure out a way to earn multiple streams of revenue, it's going to get tough. It's going to continue to get tough
Yeah.
in terms of gaining market share. These are blue ocean strategies that are out there. And like I said, 1 out of every 12 business owners are just going out of business. And we've seen that in COVID. And so that's why we're having a hard time finding a handyman, reliable handyman. That's why we're having a hard time finding electricians, HVAC, plumbers, videographers. We're having a hard time finding those people. So,
Really encourage everybody to watch. South Park just did in the last month or so, they did a special called Enter the Pandaverse. And one of the plots, one of the subplots of it was that we are so used to having things done for us that these trade positions, these skilled laborer positions, handymen, plumbers, etc., painters, people don't, a lot of younger people don't aspire to those positions. They want, like you were saying, want to be, more involved in technology, be on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily seeing that as a viable, sort of career, even though it is a viable career. And
Right.
so as a result, those trades are really suffering.
Yeah.
But the need is still there. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Like, if you think handymen are going out of business, oh my gosh, they're probably having they are going to do better and better and better and better, because less people are learning those skills,
Yeah.
and we all need a handyman.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. These trade jobs are, they're so critical.
Yeah, yeah, they are so critical, especially for us in like I said, in our industry, because like, yeah, it's and I talk, so I get to talk to these handy guys and these tradesmen, and it's been really really fun talking to them and working with their businesses. Yeah, yeah,
Well, at the end of the South Park episode, the handymen and the trade positions, they become the celebrities now, because they become the wealthy people. And so it's
yeah,
this very cute story, but it's got a very strong point, is we there are opportunities here to think about, sort of services that are not going out of business, that are not, a handyman is basically future proof, at least for a
yeah,
long time, until robots come in and do it all.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's a long ways away. So
yeah.
we
That's a
have
long
we have
ways. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and maybe it will never happen. And there's always going to, and realtors too. Realtors are worth their weight in gold if their skill set is high enough, if their
that's right.
skill set is actually valuable. You don't have to worry
Yeah,
about Zillow or any of the other tech providers coming in. Redfin's a better example.
yeah.
And not to slight Redfin, I like Redfin, they're great, but they have not really disrupted the market as much as we thought maybe they could.
Right,
And it's not because of anything negative towards them. It's just people want to talk to agents who and again, they have agents, but
right.
we understand it's a little bit of a different
Yeah,
relationship there. So yes, so what you can do, if I understand, is you can help agents identify these opportunities, and then help create a plan to actually generate some of these relationships. Is that right?
that is correct. So I help real estate professionals, mostly teams, brokerages, title companies, lenders, especially those of us who are, getting up, who either who are getting up in age and they don't have a transition plan to how to get out of their business, and or those who are growing and want to add multiple streams of revenue to them. And so I have partnerships and JVs, and so I help these companies create the plans. I help them acquire either these new businesses, or I help them put in the relationship so we can create the financial streams for them. So that's what I've been doing for like this last year.
I
Is
love it.
just because of I was like, well, let me use my relationships with some of the top lenders, title companies, and doing it in a RESPA compliant way.
Sure.
And it has been amazing, especially for people just like I said, who've been running their careers, and just most real estate people think they're going to be able to sell their businesses, and they're not. Right? You're just not going to. And so I teach them how to transition out of it and keep that income stream coming in. And that happened
Yeah,
from it started from EXP. I learned that from it's just a different business model.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's funny. So one of the things we started doing here as a recruiting tool, and for any of those who are listening, who are either brokerage owners or team owners who are looking to expand their team and hire, I've got a great tip for you. That you could start doing this in your local market, is offer free headshots. And invite the agents from other firms that you're looking to recruit or bring on your team or whatever. And here's how we do it. So, because this is exactly to your point, basically what you're doing. So here's how we do this. We hire this photographer, and then I said, well, I don't want to pay for all that myself because it's quite expensive. So
yeah,
instead, so now we have an insurance agent that hangs out during the party. We have like a headshot party. We have an insurance agent. We have an attorney. We have a lender. We have an inspector. And we have a financial advisor. And so we have everybody that would love to talk to all of these people. We all share the cost. This is a strategic partnership. This is exactly, basically what you're saying is, yes, they're not paying me, but we're all paying the photographer. And I only have to pay the photographer a little tiny amount now, and I get to do this event that is pretty cool. People get free headshots. So my point is this is a way to do a version of that. Like you were saying, is building these partnerships where, you're getting in front of the people you want, and then hopefully either sharing the cost or having somebody even compensate you for some of those efforts. And you absolutely could do this. And just to talk about title for 1 second, and I know every state's a little different, so I
Right.
don't want to throw numbers out there that because
Right.
they wouldn't be applicable to anyone unless they were in our situation. But I will tell you, as a brokerage owner, at least in the state of Illinois, it is major revenue for a title deal. In other states, it's less, but regardless, it's still something. And if you're not figuring out a way to participate in that way, you are absolutely leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Here in Illinois, it's big money, and in other states, it's not as big, but it's still money on the table.
Right. And it's for doing the things that you already do anyways. And that's what I keep,
Mhm.
people are like, well, I don't want another job and I don't want to go run a handyman service business. No, I'm teaching you how to do this without you're not going to go pick up hammers. You're not going to you're not going to go, have to become a virtual assistant yourself or any of that. This is like these are ways that you can do this with with operationalized control, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just putting butts in seats to make sure that work gets done because that's what your job is to do as a if you're a team leader, just it's your job is to make sure the work gets done. Yeah, it's quarterbacking.
And
It's always what we do
as an
anyway. Yeah,
agent too, you should be cultivating these relationships with your vendors anyway, and talk about saying, hey, I would like us to be a more strategic partner and figure out how we can help each other next year. So yeah, I'm happy to continue to send you business, Mr. or Mrs. Vendor. And I'd like you to be more part of the team as opposed to just a vendor for me. So
yeah,
what can we do together where we can both participate in the success of this?
yeah,
And I'm going to refer every single person who comes my way to you. And I'd love to hear about, maybe what you can do on your end to help facilitate more deals for me, or maybe some marketing dollars or whatever, again, is RESPA compliant
yeah,
and license law compliant. But there are ways to do this. And agents are oftentimes not as confident to ask. They don't know exactly what to ask for. I think most agents understand, well, I can ask my lender to help me with like a seminar or webinar
right. Yeah,
signs, or we understand that because we've been taught how to do that, but we haven't been taught how to do the other stuff.
right.
And this is where you come in, because
Yeah,
this is what you
yeah,
teach.
yeah. This is
And
what I teach.
got
It's old. Yeah,
yeah,
yep, yep,
it's
yep.
critical because this is why you would go to fee, because you don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to learn it all yourself. Go to somebody who's already figured it out, like Fee, and have her help consult with you and give you some suggestions, because she already knows how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's been amazing. Yeah, people think on the outside, yeah, there's some nuances and intricacies, but we've now done it across the country now, and it's yeah, and you're right. It varies from law to law, from state to state. There are different laws about different things, but yeah, I'd love to help anybody who would love. I'm open to talking to anybody who's interested in looking down that path. Yeah,
Yeah, and there is really, even if for example, even with utility companies like cable phone, for people that still use cable and phone, people still do.
yeah, they
And
do. Yeah,
yeah, and this is an opportunity to reach out to the cable company and be like, hey, can I get a spiff on every time I send someone over to you? And again, whatever the rules are in your area, fine.
yeah,
But most of them be like, sure, I'd be happy to. Solar is another one. There's
yeah.
lots of
Yeah,
home
40. Yeah.
renovators, staging companies, etc. So
Yeah.
many opportunities.
I've got a price list of the average of those. And so the ones that you'd be just most shocked on is like utilities. It's the average household for a utility, and I don't even have it here, but I think if I remember off the top of my head, in like the state of Texas, is $1,300. Well, you get a referral of that. They'll give you up to 30 or 40% referral on that.
Yeah,
Think about that. I mean, you know what I mean? Just like
it's huge.
yeah, people aren't paying about utilities. I mean, there's so many, like you said, solar. Oh my gosh, if they
Yeah.
have solar in your state, but it's being compliant, right? It's the RESPA compliant ways and how you build that. Yeah, it could be it's very lucrative.
And attorneys have been doing this for years and years and
Yeah,
years. Attorneys have referral relationships
that's right.
with other attorneys who are in different specialties. Obviously, realtors do this. Oh, my client's moving to Florida, and I live in Illinois, so I need to find someone in Florida, and I'm going to take X percentage of the commission by handing an agent down there the deal. And yes, you can do similar versions of this. And I love the thing you were saying too about this hyper local, where you could go to businesses in your local market and say,
Mhm.
look, I have a following online of people that know, like, and trust me. They listen to my suggestions, and I'm happy to sort of drive business to you, Mr. or
That's right.
Mrs. Business Owner.
Yeah.
Would that be okay? Of course, the answer is going to be
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
And then the question is, great. Can we either work out a relationship where maybe, I maybe there's a revenue share, like you were
Mhm.
saying, or maybe we can reciprocally send each other business.
Yeah.
But I think, business owners love this idea of, oh, you're going to help me grow my business.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. Let's,
Yeah.
and they understand the nature of the reciprocity of that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And there's three ways that people can generate business that way. So I call it like one being an affiliate, right? Like we talked about, like you could possibly get income. Two being we call it just a connector, like where you as the real estate professional look really good by being able to offer that higher level tier of services on it, and you may get a discount yourself. And then three is like absolutely, you become a professional. You are sharing in revenues, or you might own, or you do performance guarantees, get some performance bonuses on stuff, and you revenue share. So those are three different tiers, and I've got about four other tiers of ways you can do that. Yeah.
I mean, and what are we talking about? Sort of bottom line on a transaction. And again, numbers are going to vary wildly, but
Yeah.
we're talking about possibly adding $1,000 or more in profit to even a transaction,
Just
possibly, or more.
or more,
So
or, no, or
yeah,
more. Yeah.
or
Or
more.
more.
Yes. I was being very conservative
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
know even what title gives us per deal here in Illinois, but which is
Yeah.
thousands.
Right. That's what, and
So
that's what I was talking about. Title. Yeah.
yeah, huh,
Just on title, mortgage. If you just think about, we talked about, remember we said up to 41 different ways you can get paid on a transaction. Okay, let's just say you got paid on three more. Just imagine if you got
yeah,
just paid on those just three, the basic core three. Let's just say it's mortgage, handyman services, or housekeeping services. I don't know. I mean, you pick
yeah.
three. It's way more than you did before, and it's doing the exact same
Right.
amount
You're
of
all
work.
right. We all like, it's funny. I have how do we find the people that we hire to clean our homes on a regular basis? Well, yes, we could go online and try to find, but we usually ask our friends, right? We go,
Right, right.
who's your cleaning person? Are they good?
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
they're good. Okay.
right. They're not stealing from
And
you.
those,
Okay, they're good. Right.
no, yeah, right. Yeah. But those people are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah,
When you can find a good cleaning, any vendor
yeah,
that's
right,
excellent. We're like, oh my
right,
gosh. And people just freely sort of give out those referrals, and that's awesome. And you should
right,
do that.
right.
And you should also say, gosh, I want to help build your business. You are such an excellent vendor. I want to help you. And
Mhm.
that's where you start, is how can we help each other? And agents are just not used to asking that question. And this
Right,
is the question. And Fee's going to help you not only identify all these opportunities and possibly becoming an equity partner in some of their businesses, or some sort of affiliate or referral relationship, whatever. There's ways to do it. And whether you're getting paid, maybe you're getting paid in sweat equity, maybe you're
right.
getting paid not in physical dollars, but services for your business that can, maybe there's by the way, accountants, those are pretty important
Right,
people, right? So
absolutely.
accountants is another opportunity.
Right.
You, and I know they're on your list,
Yep,
because
yep, yep.
you've identified everyone. So this is exactly, guys, I think this is a perfect place for us to stop, because if you haven't built some of these strategic partnerships and relationships to earn more than just a commission on a sale, and yes, we understand that's how agents get paid, but there are other avenues, and Fee is going to help you figure out how to do that, how to identify and how to approach those businesses, and what to offer them, and what to expect in return. And guys, like Fee was saying, you're already referring people to other vendors anyway. You might as well see if there's an opportunity to work together. And it's you've opened my eyes, actually, because I'm kind of a business owner myself, so I now have to start looking at our strategic partnerships and realize, oh yeah, maybe I'm leaving some things on the table. In fact, I know I'm leaving. In fact, I'm going to ask Fee to take a look at my podcast and tell me
Okay.
how I'm leaving things on the table, because I totally 1,000,000,000% am leaving money on the table.
You
So
are.
I'm doing it, guys. You're doing it. We're all doing it. Fee is here to save us all. So find for all things Fee, just find her on Instagram. She's easy to find. Search Fee Gentry online. There's one Fee Gentry, and that is her, which is one of the cool things about having a name like Fee Gentry, is a name that you certainly remember and is unique. And Fee is really the real deal. Again, been on the board of directors in EXP. She's the real thing. Author, coach, athlete, and a top producer and brokerage owner. Just everything. She's done it all. So please reach out to her, because she knows where this business is headed, because she has been at those upper levels in management, at really the highest levels of some of the biggest companies out there. So guys, she knows what's coming, and she wants to help you future proof. So find her on Instagram at Fee Gentry, FEEGEN TRY. And we'll have links to all of Fee's ways to get in contact with her in our show notes. But I would just want to thank Fee for spending an hour with us. We so much appreciate you. You are such a wonderful guest, and you have such a passion for helping agents, which is exactly what the show is all about. So on behalf of the audience, thank you to Fee. This is a wonderful way for me. This is my last interview before I go on holiday break. So what a fun interview for me to have. So selfishly, thank you, Fee. But our audience also thanks you. And then on behalf of Fee and myself, we want to thank the audience too. You stuck around to the very end. We appreciate you. We honor you. This is for you. So thank you. Tell us how we can improve the show. Number one, leave us a review. Let us know, good, bad, indifferent. Let us know what you want more of, less of. Tell me to shut up, whatever. Let me know how to make the show better, but also support our sponsors. They're the ones that pay the bills. So please check out their products and services. I promise you, I do not allow vendors to come on and be advertisers unless they have unbelievable services for agents. And tell a friend. Please tell a friend about our show. Another agent in your office, they need to hear this. By the way, if you're an agent and you work for a brokerage, instead of being the brokerage owner, send this to the owner, because the owner needs to know about this as well. The owner needs to know, or the team lead needs to understand there is opportunities, and they already know it. They just don't have the strategy about how to get there. Fee's going to help them do that. So reach out to Fee. She's awesome. We'll have her contact information in the show notes. Find her on Instagram at Fee Gentry. Fee, have a wonderful, I'm just going to say, have a wonderful holiday season and New Year.
You too. I know. I can't wait. I don't have anything good planned. I had planned on traveling, but I'm going to be actually just focusing down and rebranding and doing some new stuff. So yeah.
Well, by the way, too, like Fee has, we were joking about this before. Fee has the best voice ever. She has just the most soothing voice. So I said, if you're going to hire a consultant, you're going to have somebody work with you. Wouldn't it be cool to have somebody with a voice like Fee? Well, you might as well just get Fee directly. So, in fact, I need a strategic partnership with Fee. I'm only teasing, but I am happy to promote Fee because she's wonderful and very, very skilled. But she also has a wonderful voice, and she hosts shows, and she does it all. So reach out to her. She will get you on the right track. Fee, thank you so much. We will see everybody on the next episode.
Yeah, thank you so much.